Hi, it's Jules Vandermaat here from Clinical EFT Connect and Tapping with Jules. And I'm just here doing a series of short YouTube videos talking to people about how EFT has benefited them in their life. And today I've got with me Renai, who is a certified EFT practitioner on my team at Clinical EFT Connect. And she's also a social worker, and she'll tell you a bit more about herself. Welcome, Renai. Thanks for coming along today.
Thanks for having me, Jules.
This is really good. So what we're doing here is we're just sharing stories so that people who maybe have not tried EFT before will get a sense of how it might be helpful for them.
Mhm.
So, Renai, what would you say is the main problem that EFT or tapping has helped you with in your life?
We started tapping, maybe before COVID. I think I started tapping with you when I was in a position where I was working with young adults from 18 to 25 who were had quite a lot of problems like domestic violence, homelessness, drug addiction, legal issues. So I was working with an intense group of young people, um, and I could feel myself being really dysregulated. I was continuously stressed, and I just never felt like um, I was in my own body or calm. I was taking on a lot of their things, and I was also bringing that home. I couldn't disconnect from work to home, and I had teenagers in my house at the time. Like we had uh, 4 teenagers with HSC down to I think year 7, where there was a lot of stuff going on within the home as well. In that age group, I mean, the kids are great kids, but there's teenagers are fun. So I needed to do something to calm my system to be able to be a better mother, parent, step parent, and youth worker.
Yeah, okay. And so can you give us an idea so before you did the EFT tapping yourself,
Mm.
um, what was it like for you? How was it kind of showing up for you? How did you know that, oh, I think I need to get some help with this?
Well, I was working with a young person at the time. I won't go into too much detail about that young person, but I connected with her very closely. And she was in a very serious situation with DV, and I couldn't let it go. I was coming home feeling like I was almost part of it. I just couldn't let that go. Um, and I was just heightened all the time. So there was no separation between work and home.
Yeah.
And my mind was constantly thinking of not only this young person, but a lot of effort and energy went into thinking consistently about this young person and, is she safe? Is she alive? Um, where is she? You know, all those crazy things, which
Yeah.
unfortunately was part of my daily work routine was dealing with those issues. And then, also, that could be one day and then the next day you're dealing with a young person that's on ice. Am I going to work with them today? Are they going to turn up affected by ice? Am I safe? So all of those. So when you're in that situation consistently, you're in the flight mode continuously. Like you just don't stop. Your amygdala is like going crazy and cortisol's high. So, and when you're high from cortisol, you come home and your child wants to talk to you about their day because they may have had something happen with their friend, and you're just in fight flight mode. You've got no time to come down and sit and gently have a conversation about how's your day, what's been going on with your day. So it just didn't add to a great parenting
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
So
And so it sounds like in your downtime, so in your time that you were not at work, you were still at work in your mind and body, were you? Like you still.
Yeah, I was carrying it in my body. I could feel
Mm.
this intense um, pressure in my chest and this like I was never calm. I was like I'd drinking 50 coffees and I was on edge continuously.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and it was getting to the point where, I worked in coughs and I lived half an hour out of coughs. I didn't want to go back into coughs unless it was for work. I didn't want to be in the town because it was heightening me again. So I knew that it was time to get help. And it was actually my oldest daughter who had had some interaction with yourself, Jules. And she said to me, Mum, reach out to Jules, you need help, which was such a beautiful wake up call. And I so respect and love her for that comment. It was a slap in the face, but a beautiful one.
that's right. Sometimes we need a slap in the face.
Yeah.
From our kids.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't listen to anyone else. So I'm just glad that she was the person that could calmly say, you need to get some assistance with this because you're not yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good. And so then you did some EFT yourself in the
Mm.
sort of client role, and then you obviously have gone on to train in EFT and become certified in EFT. So, um, what would you say that you notice is different now that EFT is a part of your life?
Um, I think the whole journey through EFT really taught me to listen to my body a lot more. You know, when we're not coping, sometimes, your brain doesn't think clearly, but your body will always tell you when there's something not quite right happening and that you need to deal with it. And I think because EFT works with the body so closely, I became more aware of, wow, I can feel that in my chest. That's really stressing me. Or at the end of a day, when I drive home, I'd be like, I actually don't feel like I'm in my body at the moment. I need to, come back into my body again and take some time. And it also gave me this amazing tool to disconnect from work to home. So I would tap the whole drive home and get, once again, half an hour drive, tapping for half an hour. You know, it was that disconnect. So I could come home and actually sit with my kids and go, how was your day? Oh, well, such and such did this and I'm upset, or the teacher yelled at me. And I could listen to them rather than, I can't deal with this. Don't add anything more to my my cup. I'm overflowing. I was calm again. And yeah, and my youngest daughter commented on how she had a new mum. So she told friends of ours about how tapping had given her an opportunity to have a new mum. So that was such a beautiful comment. Yeah. So, but I also use it in my job. For me, I've had difficult conversations. I work in the out-of-home care system, so I can have parents of kids that have been removed ringing me, and they're quite upset and angry. So while I'm on the phone, I'll be tapping while they're talking to me and just sorry, and it calms them down, it calms me down. And instead of having those conversations where they're yelling, I can have a really regulated conversation, which makes the parent and myself get to a conclusion. Sorry, Jules, I'm just going to have to stop for 2 seconds.
So it sounds like because you know how to regulate your own nervous system when you're talking to a parent who is very stressed or angry or upset, it's like even though they're on the phone, you're able to help them regulate their nervous system a little bit as well and have a better kind of difficult phone call.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're talking to somebody that's heightened, naturally we become heightened ourselves and we match their energy. So for me, like to be able to tap while I'm talking to them, I can stay regulated, listen to exactly what they're saying, be empathetic, and usually, they don't get any more heightened, they actually come down. So I find that we often come to some understanding of what we both need to do to move forward. I also do it with the young people, like all the young people I work with know that I do tapping, and yeah, they use it regularly. So
So they use it themselves, or they use it with you if you're having a session with them or something?
with me, I've taught a few of the kids that I work with how to, or young adults, I should say, how to do EFT for themselves. They come from very traumatic backgrounds and some with disabilities. Uh, and there's one young girl in particular who's got an intellectual disability, and she's absolutely amazing. But also could go from 1 to 100 in like 2 seconds flat.
Yeah.
And we tapped. She thinks it's hilarious. But we've tapped together, and she does it now regularly. And she's rang me a few weeks ago and said, because she's also downloaded an app that does tapping in a cartoon format, that she prompts her to keep going. And she said to me, I need a new phone. I was like, why do you need a new phone? She goes, well, the app glitched and I threw the phone at the wall. And I was like, which is hilarious, I mean, not so great, but definitely hilarious in the fact that she was trying to calm her system.
Oh, throwing the phone helped in that moment.
Yeah, and she could laugh about it. She knew what she did was silly, but
There you go.
still nobody got hurt. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
So Renee, if you were talking to someone who's in a similar position to you, so either as a parent of teenagers or as a worker involved with, pretty high risk young people, what would you say in terms of how beneficial EFT is as a stress management tool?
But for me, definitely, or if I was talking to somebody, and I've talked to many of my co-workers about this, and parents, look, it's a necessity to try to do something to keep yourself calm. We work and live in a fast-paced world. Like, just having that time to come back into ourselves and be calm and be able to be present again, and truly listen to the people that we work with, and our children, is such a necessity. Yeah, and I know a lot of my co-workers are under massive amounts of stress in what they do. So for them, just to be able to walk away with a tool that they can do while they're on their phone, while they're sitting at their desk, it's just amazing.
Invaluable, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And while they're driving home, like when I worked at the hospital, which is where I was working when I started using EFT and learning EFT, and I was a sexual assault counsellor, and I routinely would tap all the way home from the hospital, which was about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it would just help me, like it was like my body, it was like I'm saying to my body, okay, that part of the day is over
Yeah.
and this part of the day is beginning. And
Gosh.
my kids called me Teflon mum when I started doing EFT because I went from being this cranky mum who's drinking too much and coming home stressed and angry and frustrated and yelling and whatever, taking my stuff out on them, to being like, as you said, like more regulated, more present, more able to hold space for them at the end of a workday, or on the weekend. When I wasn't at work, I was much nicer to be around, and I was, yeah,
Yeah.
more able to listen to them and, yeah, be there for them. That's all it is, isn't it? Just about being present, hearing them. They don't really want you to solve their problems any more than the clients do half the time. A lot of the time, people just want to be heard and acknowledged, isn't it?
Yeah. 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 And to just be able to sit in that space, and to be able to share with people. Like I love being able to share EFT with people just as a regulation tool. You know, we've done when the floods happened in Lismore, we got invited up to do as part of a program to run a program, and part of it was about regulation, teaching young people how to regulate their nervous system again. And you know, I mean, I think we had 70 kids at one stage, and then there were 30 kids another day. And like if you get two or three young people walk up to you, and I mean, we're dealing with 15, 16-year-olds who most of the time do not want to know you, especially if you're past the age of 20. But these guys were really into it. And if you can get 30 kids all tapping in a room, I was like, wow, you know, this is amazing, especially at that age. You know, some of them are laughing and looking at you like you're a crazy woman, but who cares? Like you're all tapping. So it was beautiful. So
Awesome.
yeah.
And so these days, what does your EFT routine look like? How do you use EFT yourself these days?
I still use EFT to get to work and from work. Um, I use EFT at work on the phone. I obviously work with clients still. I'm only working 3 days a week in my professional job as a youth worker. I do EFT as with you guys, working with young women or young adults on anxiety, any issues really. And I really enjoy that. So EFT is a daily habit for me. It can be just even to go to sleep of a night, just to shut off your brain to go to sleep. You know, I can fall asleep like that where never before I'd be awake all bloody night. So it just shuts it down and tucks you in for bed.
That's right. So many good uses, aren't there?
Mm.
Okay, Renee, well, that's been awesome just hearing about your story and how you're using it in the world today. So thank you very much for sharing your story today. That's been great.
Thanks, Jules. Much appreciated.
And if you'd like to work with Renee as a practitioner, you can find her on my website, Clinical EFT Connect. That would be the best way to get in touch with you at the moment, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, thanks, Renee.
No worries.